Hi everyone, it's Maud here again, and welcome to your Yoga for Your Core class. So, what is the core? The core is pretty much the trunk. It's anything that's not your limbs or your head. It is definitely including the abs, the side muscles, and the back muscles as well. And so in today's practice, we're going to focus on engaging those, and having a strong core is very critical for protecting your spine, very critical for all our daily activities that we just take for granted, getting up from bed or sitting down and getting up from that. Anybody who has gone through surgery where you lose your core a little bit knows that these are things that we should not take for granted. And so for just this practice, I'm just going to have a block for me and also like one of the blankets. I think those are the only things that we really need. Otherwise, let's start on our backs. And we're going to make this blanket as a pillow underneath our head so we feel supported. And start to take some nice breaths right here, inhaling and exhaling, starting to set yourself up physically on your mat as well. And so as you take a deep breath in, and as you exhale out, one more time, inhale in, fingers relax, exhale out. Then you can start to cultivate the sense of having a conscious set of breaths and making the breaths intentional, because today's class is going to be a little bit more robust and will require a little bit more effort. So just remember that you want to recruit the breath the whole time and just to find some softening in some places as you're doing these core work exercises. So start by lengthening your tailbone towards your heels. We call this like a posterior tilt in the pelvis. And so we keep our booty down, but we're lengthening our lower back down towards the mat. And so that engages the abdominal muscles here in the belly. And I always want to palpate and put my fingers on there just to kind of remind myself where I should be feeling this at. And without really lifting your hips, you just have this nice opening happening in the lower back. And you're not holding your breath as you're holding this shape. Again, palpating, waking up the belly muscles. Finding nice breaths here as you're just lengthening the spine. That's the only thing that we're doing. Being mindful of that. Toes are pointing front or forward. And the feet may be a little bit wider than hip width apart. On our next inhale, keeping this long, this lower back kind of down towards the mat, no daylight between the mat and your shirt. You're going to take an inhale and squeeze your glutes a little bit and just lift your booty off of the mat just an inch. And so it's not this full bridge pose, but it's just very, very, very low bridge. It's barely any daylight there. It's about an inch. Hands can still remain on the belly. Keep lengthening your tailbone towards your heels. There's a little bit of curling in the lower spine, and that's okay. Keep your breath going. Again, you can palpate your belly muscles. And keep this hip, keep the booty suspended, and slowly send your hips to the left. Slowly send your hips to the right. And you'll notice that the left and right sides of your lower back start to talk to you. And it's just an acknowledgement like, oh, yes. When we say the lower back, it's not just one spot. There's a lot of neighboring muscles in there. So just tilt it left and right like a bowl. Keep breathing. One more time on each side. And then come to center, lower the booty down. Please grab your block and place the block between your thighs. And then as we squeeze the block between our thighs, we're going to slowly activate the glutes once again, and hands can remain on the belly. Lengthen the lower back first, always. And then as we inhale, we're going to engage the glutes and then lift our hips up for a full bridge pose. Keep squeezing the block. The block's not just there as an accessory. It's there as a reminder to adduct the muscles in, adduct the inner thigh muscles in, which brings this zipping energy towards the midline. Find some full breaths here. Inhale. And then exhale. And slowly lower the booty down. Now keep your left foot down, lengthen your right leg up towards the sky, and keep the block between your thighs. And then interlace your fingers behind the head, poke your elbows out. And be careful not to do this crunch with your elbows in and you're just yanking your neck. What I want you to do is after the full exhale, at the bottom of the exhale, slowly empty out the belly so there's more space there. And then slowly find your crunch. It's almost like you're lifting your shoulder blades off of the mat. And exhale to lower. Inhale, lift up. Sorry, exhale to lift up. Inhale to lower. Exhale. Bottom of the exhale, lift up. And inhale, lower down. Exhale. Bottom of the exhale, lift up. And then inhale, lower all the way. Keep squeezing that block. One more time. Exhale. Bottom of the exhale, lift up. Release the left hand to reach towards your right foot, even if it's not touching. Keep it here for 4, 3, 2. Do not lower the head. Left hand behind the head. This time, right hand's reaching out towards the right foot. Keep your shoulder blade lifted, trying your best. Inhale. And then exhale, slowly lower. Keep the block between the thighs. If you want a little bit of break, then you can always find some nice and subtle windshield wipers left and right. Keeping the block between the thighs, just to remind ourselves we are doing this on the other side. And there is this thing called the other side. Squeeze the block between your thighs. Lift the left leg up. Keep squeezing, keep squeezing. Interlace the hands behind you. Same thing, elbows out to the side. Inhale all the way in. Bottom of the exhale, slowly find your crunch. Shoulder blades lift. Protect the neck. Inhale, lower down. Exhale. Towards the bottom of the exhale is when you find your crunch. Notice abdominal muscles are engaged, but that's just not the core. That's only one part of the core. Inhale, lower down. Exhale. Bottom of the exhale, slowly come up. Beautiful. Last time. Inhale. Bottom of the exhale. And then slowly come up. Keep your left hand where it is. Release your right hand long, like it's reaching out towards the left foot. Breathe right here. 4, 3, 2. Do not land just yet. Right hand behind the head. Left hand reaching out towards the foot. Squeezing that block. Inhale. 4. Breathe. 2. And slowly lower. Whew. Now let go of the block. Separate the feet as wide as the mat and find some nice windshield wipers here. Beautiful. Releasing the lower back. Even with just those moves, I feel kind of strong and a little bit more empowered. Feel heated in the body as well. All right, roll onto a side of your choice. And then we're going to get into a low plank. So I want you guys to come down to your forearms with your elbows down underneath the shoulders. Step the feet behind you. And try not to dump your chest down and try not to protract your shoulder blades away from each other too much. So find this nice spot where you're actually engaging the muscles in the sides of the ribs underneath the armpits. Find some softness in the back of the neck. On an inhale, find dolphin pose. Lift your lower belly back and up. Find strength in the shoulders. Yes, why is this a core move? Because the lower belly is also a part of the core. Inhale in.
Send your tailbone up to the sky. Exhale, walk back to your plank. Zip everything from your pubic bone to your collarbone. You're one big zipper, weaving everything together. Questions to ask. Are you recruiting the muscles in the sides of the ribs? Inhale, walk back to your dolphin. Just dropping the head. Lift the lower belly back and up. Breathe in. And walk back to your low plank. In this plank, we're going to lift one leg at a time. So lift your left leg up, squeeze the glute, lift your right leg up. Or you can step it to the side, whatever feels good. Let's just do it 6 times on each side. And your 6 may be 8, your 6 may be 4. Honor what feels right to your body. Zip everything up. Zip it up. 3 more. Just for good measure, wherever you are. 2. Just lightly plant that foot. Last one. And we're going to send our knees down. Send our hips down into a nice Sphinx pose. Opening up the fronts of the body. Gently releasing the psoas. Squeezing the glutes in the back so that we don't get tempted to dump into our smaller muscles in the lower back. Fingers are spread. Inhale. Peel the heart open. Squeeze the shoulder blade muscles together. And then exhale, tuck the toes. Come back into your low plank. And we're going to do these shoulder taps where the right hand reaches out towards the left shoulder. Left hand reaches out towards the right shoulder. And the beauty here is that we are actually capable of doing this without shifting left and right. Right hand reaches to the left. Left hand reaches to the right. Beautiful. 4 more on each side. Zip everything up. Again, pubic bone to collarbone. Last 2. Last one. And send your knees down. Send your hips down. Find a nice short Sphinx pose. So we're not going to be here a lot or for a long time. Find softness in the face, and it's almost like you really want to fire up the glutes right away to help extend those hips and stretch the fronts of the body that we've contracted, that we have engaged a lot. One last time, plank pose, low plank pose. You can interlace your fingers together or keep your fingers here. We're going to do these things called a plank roll. So we're going to make sort of a rainbow, lifting our booties up a little bit higher and then dropping them to the right and left. You can inhale as you come to the midline and exhale as you go to the left and right. You can also inhale one direction and then exhale the other side. Beautiful. 4 more. Definitely feeling the heat, feeling the warmth. 1 more on each side. Beautiful. And then slowly plant your knees down. Find a nice Sphinx pose here. Shoulder blades are a little bit active. Glutes are definitely active. Acknowledging all the strength that we have, and it's not just the physical strength, it's the strength that we take with us in our day-to-day lives, with our families, our difficult, challenging situations. It's that type of strength that manifests itself physically. And then slowly walk your hands towards your knees. Come into a high kneeling position. And we're just going to place our hands on our lower back. And then send your shoulder blades towards each other, elbows to the back. Squeeze these glute muscles. Send your hips forward, lift your heart up, and slowly lift the chin up, just gently, to a nice camel pose. You don't have to reach your hands towards the feet or the ankles. It's just a short camel. And then exhale slowly. Come down to your hands. We're going to get into a side plank. We're going to get into a low side plank. So I want you to send your right arm down, your right elbow down. Then we're going to face the left side of the mat. And already you feel this engagement in the side body, that right side. So we can lift our left arm up. Now, lengthen your tailbone towards your heels, and the legs are really activated right now. Inhale here, and as you exhale, slowly lower your left hand towards your right armpit. Inhale to lift up. Keep that right hip lifted. Exhale to round. We can do this 6 more times on this side, right? Hell yeah. Really spreading the fingertips. And like I reminded you at the start of class, the breath is the most important thing. It's the first thing that we tend to lose and forget, but it's the most important thing. That way we can sustain these poses and really feel the benefits. One more time. Stay right here in the side plank, left hand on your left hip, and find these nice hip drops. You can exhale out through the mouth if you want. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. Last one, slowly lower. And then just drape your body over to the right side, your head on the right arm, giving yourselves a rest. Nice. And just like that, there's this thing called the other side. Pivot to the other side, or however you want to get there. This time our left elbow is going to be down. And just place it right underneath the shoulders. I forgot to tell you on the previous side, but you can definitely have the option of having one foot in front of the leg for this side plank variation. Otherwise, stack the feet, cross the feet, whatever it is that you have. Lift up. Right arm is lifting. Tailbone energetically towards the heels. And then the legs are just super engaged. Try not to dump in that left shoulder joint. Keep it lifted. Keep some buoyancy in that joint. And then let's exhale to curl. I believe we did 8 times on that one side. And again, if your 8 is more like a 12 or a 10, a 15, or a 6, honor your number, honor your practice, and meet where your body's at today. Maybe you want to be engaged, but your body's just not prepared for it yet. Maybe you just take things slow, have lower reps. Last time here. Hand on that hip. Again, you can send one foot in front of you. Hip drops. I believe we did 10. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and slowly lower to the left side of the body. Very cool. And then roll onto the belly, please. However way you can. And then slide the hands underneath your shoulders. Then slowly send yourself up into a nice plank pose. And this plank pose can be with the knees down. If your knees are down in a plank pose, squeeze your glutes so you're not lifting your glutes up and you're also not dumping them down. Tuck the toes in the back and pretend like there's one straight line from the top of your head all the way to the back of your knees. And it's not disrupted by your lower back. Squeeze the glutes, otherwise lift the knees up. Find plank pose. Inhale right here. Exhale, lift the hips up, downward facing dog. Pedal the feet one at a time. Beautiful. Tailbone up to the sky. Spine is long. Fingers are spread. And the feet are at least hip width apart. And the hands are at least shoulder width apart. Beautiful. One more breath in this down dog. And I want you to slowly walk your hands towards your feet. And find a nice standing mountain pose. In this mountain pose, the feet are separated at least hip width apart. And notice if you're anteriorly tilting the pelvis or posteriorly tilting the pelvis too much. Find this nice zip in the side of the body, and I've described it like this before, where you're like fusing your belly skin with the skin of your back together. So you're not only fusing here, but here as well. It's just a nice visual. If it doesn't work for you, then have another visual. Use another visual. Find your nice posture. And inhale the arms up. Exhale, send the hips to the back. Find your fold. Inhale, crawl back into your plank pose. We're just going to send our knees towards our armpits or towards our chest. So just one at a time. This is like a mountain climber, but just one knee at a time. You're just marching. And try not to round again in the shoulders or trying to drop your chest down. Really stacking those hands underneath the shoulders. Marching, 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 marching. 3 more times on each side. Here we go. Last one. Stay in this plank. Lift up to an upward facing dog. Inhale, right leg lifts. Then send this right leg into your right armpit. Shift forward. Your right elbow. Your right wrist. Hover, hover, hover. Your left wrist. Left elbow. Feel that rounding. Left armpit. Inhale, right leg lifts. One more time, just like that. Send it. Right armpit. Right elbow. Right wrist. Left wrist. Left elbow. Left armpit. Ay, ay, ay. Inhale, lift it up. Exhale, downward facing dog. Breathe into the space in the lower back, the back of the legs. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale, left leg lifts. Try not to swing it back, but lift it up. Exhale, knee to left armpit, left elbow, left wrist, right wrist, right elbow, right armpit. Inhale, 3-legged dog. Exhale, send it again. Left armpit, left elbow, left wrist, hover, right wrist, right elbow. And then the armpit, 3-legged dog, downward facing dog. And yes, we're going to finally do a flow. Inhale, plank pose. Exhale, chaturanga, elbows bend halfway. Knees down is an option. Inhale, find your back bend. Upward facing dog, the arms are long and the knees and hips are off the mat. Otherwise, you do a cobra with your knees on the mat and your hips are on the mat and your arms are bent. Exhale, downward facing dog. Exhale out. At the bottom of the exhale, cross at the ankles or the legs and come into a nice seated position here. Sit upright, sit nice and tall. We're just going to spend a few moments here as we try to breathe and we really bring awareness to our entire core, our trunk, front, sides, and back. Kind of just tuning in and getting our visualization inward into those muscles and those tissues, and acknowledging the fact that our body does a million things a day to keep us on this side of the dirt. So with a smile on your face, let's end this practice. Hands pressed together, heart center. Thumbs are touching your chest. Bow down towards your hands, bow down to your practice. And smile towards the badassery, the strong in you that came out of this class. And you can open your eyes, lift your head up. Thank you so much for joining me in this short, strong, and sweet practice for your core. I hope you enjoyed this class, and I hope you enjoy the rest of my other classes on my website. Thank you so much for being here for today. Namaste from me to you. Thanks, and bye for now.